Make no mistake, it looks like President Trump has actually pulled off something here that many presidents before him have failed to do.
Just need to underscore what an enormous moment this is for so many people in this region, for the people of Gaza who have endured 2 years of war, for the families of these 48 remaining hostages who have endured 2 years of absolute agony. This is a watershed moment.
We've heard it again and again from a number of people today, really giving credit to President Trump for getting this deal over the finish line. What are you hearing from your sources with regard to President Trump's role in getting both parties to sign off on at least the first phase of this peace plan?
Well, certainly this is an enormous moment for the world, but also for this administration, a big win for the president who has been very personally involved in this, Lindsay.
Is a major accomplishment for President Trump, something that he's been really trying to work toward. There's been a lot of critics and questioning of whether or not he could pull off sort of negotiating and working to try to get all these sides together. Of course, there were a lot of nations involved. So this is, of course, not just a victory for President Trump, but really a number of Arab nations, Hamas, and of course, Israel. But this is really huge news. And the president, of course, announcing it online.
So what do you make of what the president has said in a social media post, that they've signed off on the first phase of the peace plan? What does that mean to you?
Anderson, momentous day. There's not much good news in the world. This is great news. I am trying to hold it together, honestly. I've worked on this issue a very long time.
Israel, make no mistake, this is a huge night, potentially the end of the nightmare. For the people of Gaza, this is going to be an enormous relief. For the people of Israel, potentially the end of a 2-year-long nightmare.
And for these families still waiting for the remaining hostages who are still alive to come home, this has been an agonizing wait. And of course, the families who will get the remains of loved ones who died while in captivity.
Okay, so that is a compilation of a bunch of left-wing journalists that cannot stand Donald Trump, that have Trump derangement syndrome, and they have to face the facts that this guy should get the Nobel Peace Prize. He should get the Nobel Peace Prize, and I want him to get the Nobel Peace Prize. You know why? Because I want to codify what he did for peace in the Middle East. He didn't give us the Benghazi Gate like Obama did and ISIS terrorists. He didn't give us the Afghanistan withdrawal and or surrender with 13 of our service members that were murdered at Abbey Gate. He gave us peace in the Middle East, and he deserves credit for this. Now, it may be peace for a moment. I'm okay with that. I'm personally hoping that Israel is putting some type of attachment inside the food of some of these Hamas people that they're going to release, just in case they need to blow them up later. But this is monumental. This couldn't have happened if President Trump did not coordinate with Bibi Netanyahu and blow the smithereens out of the Iranian nuclear sites that everybody was trying to, all of these media figures that you see right now. Oh, Trump did a great job. Trump did a great job. Got to give him credit. They were trying their best not to give him credit. But the truth of the matter is we needed a strong man to bring peace in the Middle East. Democrats couldn't do it. Trump just did it. And that is extremely important. Now, remember, peace isn't necessarily the absence of war. So President Trump had to make his presence known. That happened with Iran. He unleashed Bibi Netanyahu so Bibi Netanyahu could kick some booty inside of Gaza to bring these people to heel. And as a result, we have peace in the Middle East. You got to give the man credit. Now, let me give you some of the details that are involved in this Middle East peace deal, because this is a huge deal. One of the things that I got to tell you, even I didn't always align or agree with President Trump on foreign policy, but the way he started doing foreign policy in his first term, I was like, okay, I can learn something from this guy. This guy is doing some good things. There's some stuff, even with Israel, I don't necessarily agree with. I would have liked to see Israel take out more of Hamas. I wish Israel would have killed some of those or executed some of the prisoners that they had, so that won't be an issue for them. But who knows? Maybe they'll put some type of spider again, or something, some type of electromagnetic, I don't know, something that'll get stuck in their colon for the last meal before they eat them. And then if Hamas starts set tripping, you just blow them up on the field. But I'm happy for the families. I am so happy for the families of these hostages that are going to be released. They're going to get to see their loved ones. Sadly, there's sadly, obviously, you have a lot of people that are going to get bodies that are going to be returned. I believe 20 people are alive. It's estimated another 28 hostages that are deceased. And you have Hamas asking for more time in order to get those particular bodies, I believe, within 10 days. But this is going to be closure for those families. And so I want this closure for those families. And frankly, at that point in time, once they have that closure, if Hamas does something to set off another war, then Israel is free to go at them. And at least now they have their hostages. And Israel, I doubt will ever make the mistake again that they did last time. They were so high tech. They were concentrating on the tunnels. They thought they had Israel. They thought they had Israel secure, but they didn't count on people just coming in with these hang gliders or whatever those things were, and motorcycles, just old school attack. They were so high tech that they forgot about the basics. I doubt that will ever happen again when it comes to the nation of Israel. So here are the details. Hat tip Wall Street Journal. Just so that you know, again, this is a monumentous occasion. And I've heard some conservatives say, Nobel Peace Prize, even if Trump doesn't get it, he may not get it because I know the left doesn't want to give it to him. They gave it to Obama for absolutely nothing, literally. Absolutely nothing. They gave Obama the Nobel Peace Prize, I guess, because he's black. So they gave him that. But he didn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. Frankly, I think it should be taken away because, he set off a chain of events around the world, including that fake red line with Syria that caused a bunch of mayhem in the Middle East. You had Vladimir Putin invade Crimea under him. You had China encroach on us under Obama. He was an absolute joke. The same is true with Biden. Everybody knows that the auto pen and his staff were basically running the White House. There's no doubt in my mind that our enemies, our adversaries, and even our friends knew that. But here are the details. All living hostages held by Hamas are to be released. Again, 48 hostages, about 20 of whom are alive or believed to be alive. And then you have another 28 that will be coming home later. The bodies of the hostages, this is number 2, who have died, are to be handed over later. They will need at least 10 days, as I mentioned earlier. Israel will release Palestinian prisoners. Once all the hostages are returned, Israel is expected to release 250 Palestinians who are, and actually they're not Palestinians. All right. So forgive me for saying that. Gazans. All right. There's no such thing as a Palestinian people. These are Arabs that a lot of other Arab nations did not want to take in. But nonetheless, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal. So I just had a slip of the tongue. But I will refer to them as Gazans because that's what they are. No one else in the Arab world really wants to claim them or wants them to be a part of their countries. So Israel has been stuck with them, and these people want to kill Israelis and kill Jews. But again, once all the hostages are returned, and that had to happen first. And again, this hasn't happened yet, but everybody seems confident that this is going to happen. And quite frankly, if this does not happen, President Trump, which frankly, President Trump has given Benjamin Netanyahu, and I don't believe that we should be involved in their affairs this much, but President Trump wanted peace in the Middle East. This is what he's getting. And he had to even kind of control Bibi Netanyahu to get to this point. But the Israeli people seems like they're going to be happy, or they are happy with this deal. So the hostages have to be returned first. As long as that happens, the deal, everything is copacetic. So Israel is expected to release 250 Gazans who are in Israeli prisons, 1,700 Gazans who have been detained in Gaza during the conflict. Who's on that list isn't known. From what I understand, there are some big name people on there. Hamas has pushed to get as many big name prisoners released as possible. This includes a guy by the name of Marwan Barghouti. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but whom Israel jailed him over his role in the Palestinian uprising in the early 2000s, in the Gaza uprising. Israel Defense Forces will withdraw from 70% of the enclave. The deal includes a map of the withdrawal lines. All right, but without exact locations or coordinates. I'm a little uncomfortable with that, I got to admit. The final lines to which the Israeli military will withdraw might still be under discussion, according to the Wall Street Journal. Also, the Rafah crossing with Egypt will open. So the crossing will open after the ceasefire comes into effect to facilitate aid deliveries and allow for entry and exit of Palestinians. Now, this concerns me a little bit because you guys might recall that Egypt knew that Hamas were building tunnels right at their border, from their border, taking weapons from Egypt and into the Gaza Strip. So that has to be monitored. All of these other Arab nations allegedly are working to get this deal, or to make sure that this deal is worked out. Obviously, you had Jared Kushner working with the deal. You had Steve Witkoff. You had Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But of course, none of this wouldn't have been accomplished without the sheer will and the force of personality that President Trump has. So kudos to President Trump. You got to give the man props, just like a bunch of these lefties did that have Trump derangement syndrome. The guy deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for MyPillow. A major retail chain just canceled a massive order, leaving MyPillow with an overstock of classic MyPillows. Now it's your gain. For a limited time, MyPillow is offering their entire classic collection at true wholesale prices. You get the standard MyPillow for just $17.98. If you want more, upgrade to queen size for only $22.98 or king size for $24.98. Snag body pillows for just $29.98. And versatile multi-use pillows for just $9.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, that is CARL, or call 800-858-0263. All right. Plus, when you order totals of $75 or more, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts, no strings attached. That's right. Premium pillows at unbeatable prices and bonus gifts to top it all off. Don't wait. Head to mypillow.com right now or call 800-858-0263. And don't forget to use the promo code Carl, CARL, to grab your standard MyPillow for just $17.98. That is insane. Can't beat that with a bat. So much news that has occurred this week. It is literally hard to keep up with, and the president is continuing to move. This guy is just constantly on the move. He never sleeps. As a matter of fact, I've heard some of his staffers say, I don't know who reported this, I just heard it the other day, that some of his staffers don't like traveling with the guy because he never sleeps, or he barely sleeps. The guy is always on the run. He's ready to go. He's ready to accomplish something else. And he's 78 years old. I mean, that is extremely, extremely impressive. But so many more things happened in the news this week. You had the Antifa roundtable that occurred this week. Obviously, Antifa, the president, the White House, the DOJ, everyone are going to designate them, or have designated them, a domestic terrorist organization. I think that is extremely important. You still have the back and forth between Chicago mayor, the governor of Illinois, where President Trump is adamant about stopping crime in these blue cities. And some red states like Memphis are allowing President Trump to come in. Red state of Tennessee, but Memphis, obviously a blue city, where the governor is like, come one, come all. And I think that is a great model. Go to red states, fix up the blue states, but continue to press these blue states and these blue cities and show them what can be done. He gave the people in Washington, D.C. a taste of freedom, so to speak. So anyway, that's been wonderful. So also a big story this week that I want to get to, 8 senators that were spied on under Biden. I want to talk about that. I haven't gotten to that, but I do think that is a big deal. I do think that is a huge story. And I always listen, guys, if we look back at what occurred, what we lived through in the past 4 years, everything from the COVID lockdowns, punishing people and censoring conservatives simply because some of us questioned not necessarily the entire legitimacy of the election, although I did, frankly. One has to wonder, Biden was in a basement, so on, et cetera. Nonetheless, I won't go there. But as an American, you can do that. You can do that. And we were punished for that. Despite the fact that Democrats, whether it's Al Gore, whether it's Hillary Clinton, whether it's Stacey Abrams, these people question elections all the time. This is America. You're free to do that. If we're wrong, we're wrong. If they're wrong, they're wrong. but you don't jail people for that. You don't censor people for that. You don't sick the federal government on people for that. This is America. Speaking of This is America, I want to go to this story. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. Hat tip, PJ Media. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. I want to play a couple video clips for you. If we could get cuts number 13 and 14 ready, Gabe, just let me know when they're ready. But he's been indicted on charges of making false statements and obstruction of justice. This is a big deal. This is a huge deal. Let's go to cut number 13. Por favor, Gabe.
Well, before I answer that, I should tell you we have some notes from our reporters inside the courtroom now. And I guess the news out of this is that a trial date has been set for January 5th. Now, of course, that is very preliminary, and I personally do not expect that to hold. But that is the current trial date. I'm just seeing some details and some color from our producers who are inside the courtroom that the EDVA attorneys entered the courtroom at approximately 10 minutes before the hour, shook hands with the Comey team. Lindsay Halligan was wearing a black suit. Members of James Comey's family filed in a minute or so later, followed by members of the press. Our folks saw Pat Fitzgerald, James Comey's lawyer, former prosecutor, in an animated conversation with the prosecutors in the case as the press came in. And Fitzgerald addressed the court and said, "It's the honor of my life to represent Mr. Comey." And Pat Fitzgerald, we should remember, is a longtime Justice Department prosecutor. He was a special counsel. He actually prosecuted Dick Cheney's former chief of staff.
You get the point. So Comey has been indicted. That's the bottom line. Guys, I don't know, frankly, if anything will come of this. I don't know if there will be a guilty plea. But let's be real. James Comey was an absolute disaster. He was absolutely corrupt. I mean, the guy is on video talking about how he set up Mike Flynn, basically, General Mike Flynn. At the time, he realized that President Trump, they were kind of amateurs. I'm paraphrasing here. This is a guy that perpetuated the Russiagate hoax that started under Brennan and Obama and all of these guys. So this guy is guilty as sin. Unfortunately, all that they've been able to get him on because of the time that has lapsed is his testimony back on September 30th of 2020 when he defended his handling of the Russia probe. Prosecutors are alleging that he lied to lawmakers about his management of that investigation. Now, this was a guy that used to get a lot of people, including what's the famous lady's name? Stewart something. Martha Stewart. I mean, this is the tricks that James Comey pulled. It was the process, punishing people. If they would misremember, they would go to jail. So anyway, I think this is very important. This guy was acting like he was above the law. I think it's really important to at least have some accountability. Whether he walks, listen, that's neither here nor there. He needs to have some accountability. Also, this broke earlier that, let's see if I have it. The DOJ has also indicted Letitia James, the New York AG Letitia James. Based on media reports, Letitia James has in multiple instances falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. Now, she's ironically being indicted, the first person that Trump sicked on her, basically, and honestly, justifiably so. And these people should not listen. You're going to go after now a president, but somebody that was not president at the time over some false, straight-up lies. You better make sure that your closet is empty. Is that the way to, I mean, it just makes no sense. This lady obviously knew what she was doing. Her father was on one of the bank loans allegedly as like a boyfriend or something like that. It was, I mean, it's just, or a, husband or something like that. It's just absolutely insane. And so she's got to be held accountable as well. And so that broke earlier today. So that's good news. Another thing that I want to share with you that I think is extremely important in California, the Palisades wildfires. We now know that it was basically a left-wing loon that was mad at the world that set those fires. That set the fire initially. And basically, he was an Uber driver, if I recall correctly, and dropped some people off in the Palisades area. and I guess went on a hiking trail and lit a fire that ended up relighting later. And so all these people that said it was climate change, including Gavin Newsom and all these lefties, Bernie Sanders out there trying to blame climate change for the California wildfire, the Palisades wildfires. No, it turns out it was a left-wing nut, actually not a nut, but an arsonist. And so I suspect that you're not going to hear any of these people come out and make mention of that because once again, all they do is lie to make people mad. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, typically I'm wearing a jacket because my show appears on SNC as well, at least some segments of the show. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast. That is The Carl Jackson Show, wherever you go to get your podcast, YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify, all these places. But YouTube, we are really trying to get that number up to 10,000. If you could help us get there, please subscribe, rate, and review. That would help us out tremendously. All things social media at Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show. But we are wearing, or I'm rocking, the T-shirt that Charlie Kirk was rocking at the time of his assassination. Sadly, I cannot believe that it has been just over 3 weeks. So God bless Turning Point and Charlie Kirk. Turning Point, basically his ministry, his baby that's under the leadership of his wife, his widow, Erica Kirk. So I didn't rock a jacket. I wanted to just honor Charlie Kirk. Okay, more news real quick if we have time to get to it. Jack Smith, let's go to a cut number 15, if you will. 8 senators were spied on under the Biden administration. Their metadata was collected, basically their cell phones, who they were calling, what time they called. Their phones weren't necessarily tapped. I don't know yet, but it doesn't sound like that. It just sounds like they were keeping a log. The FBI was keeping a log of who they were contacting, what time they contacted them. That was Jack Smith. He did that in 2022. That was after. Okay, so we won't have time to play the video, but this is basically the deal. So you had 8 senators that were spied on by Biden's FBI. I mean, this is absolutely insane. Jack Smith played a part of that. Christopher Wray, former FBI director Christopher Wray, needs to answer to that. What was the name of that thing? It was Arctic Frost. We talked about it before because not only did they basically spy on these senators, and they did it allegedly. They did it allegedly because of because these senators were pretty vocal when it came to the 2020 elections, and so I guess that is the reason why they decided to not tap their phones, but trace their phones, trace their activity on the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's absolutely insane, and I think these people need to be held accountable. In my opinion, Jack Smith needs to be put in jail for this nonsense, and whomever else played a part in this. You cannot have law enforcement that is crooked. If you don't have the rule of law in the United States of America, you don't have freedom. It's as simple as that. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good.